NFL Live. I'm Hannah Storm, and today we have a very special guest. So we're going to play a little game of Guess Who. All right, here we go. He was a first-round draft pick in the 2011 NFL Draft. He is an 8-time Pro Bowler and 3-time All-Pro. And he has the most sacks of any player in the NFL since 2012. Our special guest today is, give it up for the one, the only, Cam Jordan of the stage.
Yeah. Real big. Super excited.
Along with Kimberly A. Martin and Field Yates. That was quite an entrance.
You are.
Well done.
I was kind of thinking it was me as the special guest today until I saw the first round pick back in 2012. I said, not me.
2012 was probably a good year, but it wasn't the greatest draft ever.
Wait,
2011.
My bad.
2011?
Yeah, come on.
And that was the last time you were here, right? When you were a rookie in 2011?
It was about to be a rookie, maybe. It was like the WNBA draft. It was like that Maya Moore draft class is what I call it. I'm sure,
Wow. So you were here when Maya Moore was drafted.
I'm old.
That kind of puts it in perspective. 15th season in the NFL. You said Dad got all the way
played
to 13.
Right? Good for us.
Yeah.
We're headed into year 28 as Jordan men.
So we gotta do better than Steve. All right.
You gotta do better than your dad. You have sons so they can uphold and carry the legacy.
I love it. I love it. All with one team. Your dad, unbelievable with Minnesota. All right, let's start with the team that everybody's chasing in the other conference, the one that you don't play in, the AFC. All right, we're going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. New on NFL Live, Andy Reid spoke to the media today. Here is what he had to say.
Obviously, I think everybody right now is sitting there going, yeah, you want to win the Super Bowl. That's what you want to do. So, but we're right there. That's our primary goal is to put ourselves in the best position we can to win.
We have an expectation that we're going to go out there and score every single drive, but that comes with a lot of single reps, a lot of practice reps, a lot of time spent with the guys, and so it takes every single person in the building to go out there and have the top offense in the league, and so we have to just go into every practice, every film study, whatever that is, with that mindset that we're going to get the best out of it.
And listen, they can get better. It was a struggle for the Chiefs to move the ball at times last season. They ranked 29th in the NFL in yards per rush, a fourth worst. That was also the Chiefs' worst in a season since, oh my gosh, 2011. Why do we keep going back to that year, Cam? Kansas City up their design run rate to 37% last season. That was their highest with Patrick Mahomes as the starter. Obviously, they're going to get some help back at wide receiver. Let's hope that offensive line gets straightened out. Things are looking good there. Why are they able to retool and be in contention every year?
When you say retool, we do know the main driving force is Andy Reid, Pat Mahomes. You add in Travis Kelce. And other than that, you retool sounds a little aggressive. I'm thinking in my mind, every year we look for reasons why they won't win. And for some reason, the Chiefs only know how to win. We talk about their lowest run percentage, et cetera, 29th. I don't know if they're going to be able to beat the whoever, and yet they always do.
Right.
They always do. So until they don't, I'm a firm believer in history keeps repeating itself.
They'll be really good.
Low first-round draft picks. I mean, they seem to they scout, they do everything right. And
they say things like, who's the receivers? And they have Hollywood Brown, and they have all these guys that pop up late and they show up.
Coming back.
Absolutely.
Right.
But if they're going to get back to the offense that we saw a few years ago, they need to be far more explosive. We touched on this yesterday during NFL Live, but to reiterate, the Chiefs averaged their fewest yards per rush, their fewest yards per passing attempt. They had their fewest explosive runs. They had their fewest explosive passes in any year with Patrick Mahomes as their starting quarterback. How do they become more explosive? Having Rashee Rice healthy and having Xavier Worthy continue to develop, because he did come on last season, will help. I think their third-round rookie, Jalen Royals, might be able to help a little bit, too. Rookies would have fourth most amongst any player in the FBS over the last 20 seasons. And the two guys at the very top of that list, Jamison Williams, Jamar Chase, those guys, very fast, the kind of players that we know can flip a game on its head in a hurry. I think the Chiefs just this year, maybe a few less grinded-out drives, a few more press the easy button drives, make your defense feel good with a 7-0 lead early.
Yeah, all those close wins last year. Again, you can't afford to do that all the time. You can't afford to make that a habit. We saw what happened in the Super Bowl, Kimberly, and you were there in Kansas City last week, right? What's the vibe, Kimberly?
So I'm glad you feel especially, and you were detailing all those stats that show how much the Chiefs struggled, because I was there in Kansas City this week, and I talked to Andy Reid, and I talked to Patrick Mahomes and Chris Jones and other guys about basically the fact that they got slapped in the mouth. They got punched in the face by the Eagles. And one thing that Andy Reid said to me was, I wanted to see how guys would come back, how the coaches would come back in the offseason, the players. Did everybody feel like they had something they needed to improve on? And Andy Reid said, yeah, I feel really good about that, because all the stats that you mentioned were ways in which that they need to improve this season, but injuries are key. Health is key. Even Travis Kelce, you don't need Travis Kelce to be the Kelce of old, but you just need somebody else to complement him and what this offense can do. And this team understands that we are a championship-only team. That's what we're looking at. I think that was a wake-up call, and they're fine being the villains. Nobody wanted to see them three-peat last year. I think they're going to come in, and as Patrick Mahomes told me, he said, I'm hungry. So
yeah, I love it.
See.
Well, is he ever not hungry?
First of all, if it's not the Saints, I don't care who wins the Super Bowl. 3-peat, 2-peat, first time, I don't care. If it's not black and gold, it does not matter to me.
See, y'all don't have to contend unless you get to the Super Bowl.
Exactly.
With these teams.
We're fighting for it.
That's right.
That's what I'm like. Nobody wanted to hear him 3-peat. Actually, didn't really care.
You're good. You're good. You know who does not want to hear that is the Ravens. We're going to talk about the Ravens right now. Okay. So according to our ESPN analytics, 3 teams stand out to win the AFC in 2025. That would be the Chiefs, the Bills, and the Ravens. Obviously, no surprise there. No other team even has a 10% chance to do it, according to our numbers. Ravens have not made a Super Bowl since 2012. They could be inching closer to that goal, obviously, with the addition of Pro Bowl corner Jair Alexander. That's quite a secondary there. Coach Harbaugh with more on the move.
He's excited to be here. We're excited to have him. He had been kind of behind the scenes in the works a little bit, and I know he wanted to be here, and we wanted him here. So for it to work out the way it did, it made Lamar happy. I think it made everybody happy. It's just an opportunity to become a better team in that sense today. So we're really excited about it.
I think a quote that's never been said and probably will never be said in NFL history is, we got too many corners that can cover. So I think that's a great problem to have, and really excited for that addition.
So we've got all the starters now, first round picks. Really interesting lineup, at least in name. How do you like this addition?
Man, I would say they already had Marlon Humphrey, as you just saw, Kyle Hamilton. You got Roquan Smith. And you look at their defense, it's like you can't not name somebody,
Exactly.
And so they add in Jair, and you're like, again, all pro guy. Like, that's what you say is going to help elevate your game. I don't understand, how we go each and every year and say, hey, Baltimore Ravens, they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. The Buffalo Bills, they're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs this year. But when you think about who's at the top, until they knock off Big KC at the top, they're going to keep on swinging. Now, I think they had a heck of an acquisition right there in Jair, but let's not get it twisted. Everybody's aiming for the throne.
Yeah, they're loaded.
So Camp's point about this is how I feel about the move. I think it looks good on paper, but Jair Alexander hasn't been healthy the last 2 seasons. That's also part of it. So we have to wait and see if he will be healthy. But bigger than that, to me, felt like without Jair, this Ravens team had everything it needed last season to win it all. And when I look at the Ravens, the biggest issue to me on this team is the Ravens themselves and the inability to finish. Lamar Jackson talked about that this week, that he needs to be better. I don't think we're going to see another situation where Mark Andrews drops a pass on the goal. Knock on wood, I don't think we'll see that again. But the emotional toll of all of these games where they sit back and say, how the hell did we lose that game? That at some point, I think they're getting frustrated with that.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Patrick Mahomes being motivated in Kansas City. What about Lamar?
Yes.
By the way, could have won the MVP. But
Again.
Almost did.
He has talked about probably should have. Historic year.
Absolutely,
right?
crazy year.
But the 2 turnovers, right, that he had in the game that they were eliminated in. So what is holding them back? They're so talented top to bottom.
Yeah, Kimberly kind of hinted at one thing is probably the execution adjustment, right? Just play better when it matters the most. But I thought specifically last year, one area where they needed to be better in the biggest moments was the pass rush needed to be much more effective. Speaking right to Cam's heart here. If you go back and look at their biggest games of last season against the stiffest tests in terms of quarterbacks, there were 2 games that really stood out to me. Against the Buffalo Bills in the divisional round of the playoffs, and against the Eagles. So these are the late season games against elite top tier teams. 5 pressures each of those games. That was their lowest total in any game last season. They got a lot of bodies there in that Baltimore pass rush. There is the makings of a very good rush, and maybe having a better secondary will only increase the capacity for that rush to get home. But last year in pivotal moments, too much time for Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts. Quarterbacks that are that good with a little bit of time and space are going to pick apart any secondary, no matter what your credentials are.
Can I flip this a little bit and ask you, how tough is it to bring down Lamar Jackson? Like, how do you even prepare?
I don't know. I missed twice in one play.
I was not going to bring that up.
Like I've hit him. He ducked under me. I got up, slapped his ankles, and he still went for a first down. So what
do you say to that?
Yeah, how do you prepare for a quarterback like that?
Yeah. I mean, just as you mentioned, the Ravens rush and how they struggled against Jalen Hurts and the Buffalo Bills quarterback and Josh Allen. You say when you're trying to eliminate the mobility. Yep. So sometimes it's not a fun pass rush. It's a run your spot and make sure he doesn't leave his spot.
Yeah.
It's hey, let's see how he can damage us through the air and not through their feet and the air.
Right.
You're just trying to take some of it out.
Poison, yeah.
Absolutely. And with Lamar Jackson, there's a reason why he's an MVP. He's the epitome of a dual threat quarterback.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's become such a complete passer, right? Over, 4,100 yards last year, 41 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. And then
I'm not here for analytics. I watch the game. I'm like, okay, it's going to be a day today.
If somebody asks you who the MVP frontrunner is for this year, wouldn't you have to say Lamar? Right?
You always say so.
Every year.
Or Jalen Hurts. Or
is he your least favorite quarterback to play against Lamar? He's got to be
absolutely
up there.
Not. Absolutely not. I'd love to play against Lamar because it puts you
challenge.
It puts you against a new challenge.
Yeah.
I'd love to go just rush against the offensive tackle and not have chip help and just go after a quarterback.
There you go.
Like the quarterbacks of old, the stagnant, standbys. We don't have those anymore.
Nope.
Everybody's
different day.
We're going to get into
We're in
that.
the era of quarterbacks.
We're going to get into your top favorite stats, right?
Yeah,
All 5.
let's go. There's a couple statues in there.
Yeah, that's coming up.
You got a couple guys a lot.
a lot.
Poor Matt Ryan. I know.
No spoilers from me.
Oh, man. All right, we are just getting started on NFL Live. Micah Parsons is one of the many stars
of the game. That's why you've got to love violence. And so when guys, let's talk about, you're not trying to hurt somebody. Why am I not? What you mean? If he wins, that's food off my plate. I love to eat. What you mean? I got kids. I got family.
4 kids. All right. Sack Summit. That is an annual event for NFL's top pass rushers, hosted by Max Crosby, Von Miller, and our star today here on NFL Live, Cam Jordan, happening next week in Vegas. This is so fun. Myles Garrett isn't just the highest paid edge rusher. He's the highest paid non-quarterback ever. The only other edge rushers to average $30 million a year are Danielle Hunter, Max Crosby, and Nick Bosa. The sound of that clapping comes from Cam Jordan.
Love it.
Fields. Some guys are looking for some new deals, though.
Yeah, they sure are.
Let's start with TJ Watt.
Yeah, let's go to Pittsburgh. Busy offseason so far for them, right? One big thing missing on that to-do list so far, and that's a new deal for TJ Watt. He's 30 years old, but still amongst the very best defensive players in the entire NFL. He's going to the final year of his contract. He already got docked $100,000 for not going to minicamp last week. Tells you how serious he is about a new deal. I think there is a sense this is going to eventually get done at some point during the summer. That being said, when your best player, at least your best defensive player, is nowhere to be seen, major cause for concern within that locker room, at least in Pittsburgh. Same deal in the AFC North with Trey Hendrickson in Cincinnati. A little bit different because this is a former teammate of Cam's, not a homegrown player, but still he's been their best defensive player by far. He also is 30 years old. He'll be 31 in December. Trey, like TJ Watt, skipped minicamp last week, not $100,000 that he was docked, but in the case of both of these players, what they're saying is I'm willing to sacrifice $100,000 for a much bigger pot of gold that they believe they deserve. Certainly their play on the field will merit it, and just go ask any Bengals offensive player. I said yesterday on NFL Live, Trey was probably the only defensive player they acknowledged in the locker room because the rest of the defense did about nothing last year.
Yeah, poor Al Golden. Come on, get him some players. Let's go. You didn't leave Notre Dame for this.
You tell him everything you know.
Got it like that.
He took everything from me plus more. Two years of back-to-back 17.5 sack seasons. Pay him for his services rendered.
Oh my gosh, can we talk about Micah Parsons for a hot minute too? Not on this list. 5th most sacks since entering the league in 2021. I mean, look at these other names. All but Trey Hendrickson ranked top 10 in average salary per year among edge rushers. And Micah Parsons, his rank is 68.
Yeah.
Cam, I mean,
he's on a rookie deal.
When do you see this?
You got to earn it. And he has.
Obviously.
He put out the work.
What are your thoughts when you see this? Right?
I'd say pay him. They should have paid him last year because now it's just going to cost him more.
Right.
You pay him early when they produce early, and you can sort of avoid these situations. Trey Hendrickson gave the Bengals a very friendly deal at the time, and now he's way out of the league. Time to get him up to market.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons, rookie deal. You knew what you were getting. You were getting a guy who you said was going to be a generational type talent, and you promoted him as such, and he arrived and gave you as such. Now, pay him as such.
Yeah, but the longer you wait, the price tag just
It's only
keeps
gonna
going
go up.
And that's actually Dallas's MO. That's the way that they do business.
At this point, it's repeating in process.
Going to say Dak is maybe like the player that you think of most when you think about a team waiting. You know,
Right.
Cam is a very rare player amongst edge rushers who's in his 30s who gets this close to top of the market deal when you extended a couple of years ago with New Orleans. The difference between Micah Parsons and TJ Watt and Trey Hendrickson, he's 26. Like, there's a pretty compelling case. He's either entering the prime of his career or still hasn't reached there. So while it takes two to tango, certainly Dallas' track record of being patient is going to probably end up costing them again, right? To me, this should be a relatively straightforward deal to get done, all right? He's 26 years old. He plays perhaps the most important non-quarterback spot on the roster. You go to the top of the market and you say, what's the top guy make? You add a little bit more because that's the tax you pay by being the next in line. And you say, you want 4 years? You want 5 years? Let's make it happen. So it hasn't yet.
This is what's so confusing to me in Cincinnati and in Dallas. Teams would kill to have these type of players, and you have them, and you wait and wait and wait. They get frustrated. You talk about Trey's team-friendly deal, and now it's hurt him. He's trying to do something good for the organization, and now when it's time to pay up. With Micah Parsons, you know, Jerry Jones, when you asked around last year, like, what are the Cowboys doing in terms of waiting for Dak and paying CD? Everybody said, I have no idea why they're waiting. Because what we know about the NFL is yesterday's price is not today's price. Like, it is very basic, and the Cowboys continue to wait, and it's going to cost Jerry. I don't think Micah Parsons is going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
They will get this done. But why even aggravate a player who's that integral to your defense?
And have it be a distraction.
It's unnecessary.
Like the whole thing.
There's a case, like just a chance, just to play this out, like what the alternate scenario is. Like if the Cowboys had been aggressive at the outset of this offseason, maybe they get Micah Parsons at $38 million per year, which is Myles Garrett came first at 40.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Myles gets done at 40, and Micah says, I'm not taking a penny less than that guy. I mean, that to me would be my strategy if I were Micah Parsons.
Listen, speaking of really underpaid pass rushers, Field Yates had his own experience trying to get after the quarterback at the Ultimate Fantasy event last year.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with what you're describing right now.
Cam had some thoughts on this. I'd just like to share it once again with our audience.
He got an Uncle Rico arm, okay, and there's pulling dynamite, and then we got the high steppers, and then we finishing. Oh, he looked like the little 5-year-olds that be at my camp, like they don't know how to finish. He clearly don't know how to finish. Oh yeah. When you hide that arm and you try to act like you don't. I'm not hurt, but he's hurt. He's wounded. He ain't get up. Yeah, I know he went back down.
Look, I host an annual kids camp every year, and every year you have a 5 or 6-year-old who's going to give you his all. And in today's game, that would have been a foul. Like they would have thrown a flag. He put whole body in, laid on body. If that's Joe Burrow, you're gonna flag every time.
Right
you forgot
there.
as you like in midair, you're supposed to ask for consent and then roll. Hey, is it okay if I put you on the ground? Okay, I'm sorry. You forgot the basics of today's game.
Yeah, I'm there with the 5 and 6-year-olds.
I was going to say, I'm only 38, but basically a 5 or 6-year-old. So.
All right, Field. We had to
Come
do
to my
it.
camp next year.
I can't wait. You have a geriatric camp. I'll be there soon enough.
We had to do it. Sorry, Field. Coming up,
I deserve
Cam is back with Cam Jordan today. He has gotten a lot of quarterback. Yeah, what's your favorite sack celebration move?
It's right here.
Like,
It's all about levels. It's about getting the next sack. Yeah,
okay,
The
all
levels
right.
to this.
Yeah, there's levels to this.
All right, so we're talking high 40s here of the
Yeah.
guys you've sacked, right?
Absolutely.
You're approaching
A lot of
50.
quarterbacks.
A lot of quarterbacks.
That's a lot of quarterbacks.
Wide receiver who had to play quarterback.
Is
the
that
COVID
right?
year.
Kendall Hinton.
Yeah, that.
Oh my God.
Against the Broncos.
He went from bagging grogroceries against
I
sack.
can't believe you knew that.
I'm a
Okay,
wealth of unimportant information.
That is. Speaking of important information, we asked you to choose the top 5 quarterbacks, 5 to 1 sacks that you've enjoyed.
Man, 5 to 1.
Yeah,
Lot of
let's start with
options.
who's number 5?
This is like the
a really
Cheesecake
good
Factory
list.
menu size right here.
I
A lot of
know, it
quarterbacks
is,
you said.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
Go.
Yep, I think.
Who's number 5?
Man, there's some honorable mentions. We'll talk about this later.
Okay.
Number 5, we got to go. My guy, Jameis Winston.
He's the best.
I mean,
Former
he came to
teammate?
Tampa. What? There was one game. They were in the dome. He was playing for Tampa at the time. I missed him 2 or 3 times. I finally get him down. He mushes me in the ground. I'm just like this. I'm like, I got you.
There it is.
There it is. Yeah, man. Like, come on, Jameis is such a competitor.
Levels.
You've actually sacked him 9.5 times.
Boom.
That's cool. All right.
Boom.
Who's number 4?
Number 4. One of the OG greats,
like
Micah
that.
Vick, like the premier dual threat quarterback. You wanted his cleats. Everybody had them. Like I used to love when he was Atlanta throwing to Algie Crumpler. Michael Vick was my first 3-piece game. Second year in the league. You got to have one multiples, and that was him. Yeah, forced fumble, everything. Like it was a beautiful game for me. It was like, hey, I've arrived. I can continue doing this.
Yeah, 3 sacks and a forced fumble in one game. That's something else. All right.
And a win.
Listen,
More importantly.
There's some really big names up here. Okay, so where are we going? Number 3.
Man, number 3, it's just hard because the top two spots got to be special. So I'm going to put one of the greatest to do it right there, number 3. He was sacked number 99 and 100 for me in the same game. Yeah.
By the way, getting by Tristan Wirfs,
too.
Offensive linemen are nameless. They're just, I'm not going to say they're blobs. They're blobs. They're mass amounts of nothing and everything. They're great people, really nice people. But quarterbacks, that's just it. You have to go get a great. Yeah. And he's mine.
4 times in 8 games. You took Brady down. All right.
And
who's
then,
number 2?
If it wasn't that, number 2 makes it easy. I'm going to throw a curveball because normally that's my 1, but today he's number 2. Matt Ryan sacked him over 23 times. I knew going to a game, offensive lineman, you could say, so what? Yeah. It's just an offensive lineman at the end of the day. Yeah. But the offensive lineman has such great feet. No, they don't.
You even got him as an announcer.
Absolutely. I got him after he retired.
Poor Matt. He's like seeing that in his nightmares.
Terrorizing him.
That's my favorite quarterback any time of the year.
It's the most sacks of any person against any quarterback in NFL history.
We have a connection. Yeah.
All right, so who's number 1?
Yeah, he was supposed to be number 1. But to start all of this, to start 121.5 sacks with another 5.5 sacks in playoffs, you got to start somewhere. And my first sack, Cam Newton.
That's awesome.
And he's the draft class 2011, number 1 overall pick. And that was my first sack. He was wearing number 1. He was my first sack. And then, 120.5 sacks later, we're doing all right.
Wow. Sacked him 8 times
incredible.
in your career. That is incredible.
I sacked him one time in the playoffs. It probably didn't count. Not that I remember.
So as you're approaching 50, right, sacks, 50 different quarterbacks, 50 different quarterbacks, is there like a guy on your list, like somebody playing the game now that you'd love to take down?
Absolutely. I mean, we'd love to say, I would love to get back at Phillip Rivers because he used to talk the most, I can't call it crap, polite niceties. Because when you're like,
he was a talker.
He's a talker, but he's like,
swear, right?
He's a quarterback. He's a really good person. He's got 35 kids. He's a family man at the end of the day.
Exactly.
So you can't add him. He's gone. Baker Mayfield, love his competitive nature.
Yeah.
He was always great. I used to love the faces that he made after you sack him.
Really?
If you could freeze frame those faces, picture worthy.
What about somebody that you haven't sacked?
I want the new kid. I just sacked the number 2 pick overall and Jaden Daniels last year. I got to go for number 1. Give me Caleb Williams. We play the Chicago Bears. I just got to add on to the list.
You're playing them this season.
It's not about him. It's more about me. It's selfish. I've already knocked down the second overall pick. Let me knock down the first overall pick.
Wow, well, you'll get your chance this year.
The Bears
are certainly hoping he doesn't get sacked as many times as he did last year.
Yeah, but either way, we got Chase Young and Carl Granderson coming off the edges too.
Ooh, there you go.
Look, I got faith in my defense.
I know. Can we talk about your team?
Please.
All right, let's go.
Demario Davis has been ready and rearing to go.
All right. It has been a busy offseason for the Saints in a lot of different ways. So just days after the Super Bowl, New Orleans hires Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore as the new head coach. 6 years of experience as an offensive coordinator, including 1 year in Philly. New Orleans then did something it never does, ever. It selected a quarterback early in the draft. Tyler Shuck went 40th overall. The first time they've drafted a quarterback in the opening 2 rounds since Archie Manning, all the way back in 1971. And the timing of that pick was really good because Derek Carr announced his retirement from the NFL in May, played just 10 games last season, fewest in any of his 11 seasons. And you've seen a lot of quarterbacks coming in and out of that locker room, facing them on the other side. What stands out to you about the current group that you have?
Man, young, a lot of potential, a lot of hope. And in this building, we bring in a new head coach with Kellen Moore, and you knew the quarterback he was at Boise State, to him being a quarterback for the Cowboys and myriad of other teams. And he goes, drafts a guy and practically almost like in the first round, really. Yeah. It's a 40th overall pick. Second round, but you also got Spencer Rattler. You also got Jake Hayner. We brought in Hunter Decker.
Yeah.
Just nothing but youth.
No kidding.
So we're talking about wide-eyed kids, but that's just it. They're not playing like that. We only had OTAs, but each one of them made some throws that you're like, okay, I see some stuff. Now let's add on pads. I won't test anybody until you've gone through live bullets.
Yep.
But I like what we're seeing early.
Yeah.
We're talking about Tyler Shuck is making all the right throws at the outs, the check downs, timing-wise, good stuff. You're talking about Spencer Rattler. I'm high on Spencer Rattler myself.
Yeah, so, what did you see in those 6 starts from him?
Spencer's got that competitive, want to. He's got that grit.
Yeah.
But same with Tyler Shuck, though. But his is more like a subtle, he's understanding everything. He's comprehending at a high level. I don't think we're in a bad place in terms of the future of what they can do.
It's so interesting to not have a veteran. You look at all the quarterback rooms around the league, and there's at least one veteran.
Yeah, it's definitely a different approach, right? I guess the veteran quarterback in that room is probably Kellen Moore, right? Who's the youngest head coach in the NFL now, just 36 years old, and a guy who, of course, played, as you mentioned, Cam. Chuck will be an interesting one, right? So he's young. Your quarterback room is inexperienced, but he was a 25-year-old player when drafted. He'll be 26 by week 4 this past year. I thought coming out of Louisville, the arm talent was right there. I mean, probably second to Cam Ward, only amongst the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. And a lot of people talk about, hey, basically 1 full season as a starter in 7 college years. There were 2 ways to look at that. Either was he not good enough to be a consistent starter? Was he not healthy enough? Or could you say, maybe relative to most rookie quarterbacks, he comes in with having seen a lot. Not as many quarterbacks have as much experience, seeing some of the stuff that Tyler Shuck saw. I think that the processing definitely stood out to evaluators during the pre-draft process,
kind of like Bo Nix last year, right? A lot of experience coming in.
Yeah. I've seen a lot.
I'm curious because Field made the joke about Kellen Moore being the most experienced quarterback in the building. From Kellen Moore as a first-year head coach, what is it? How has he rebuilt the culture? What is he like as a head coach? Because we know how great of an offensive mind he is. We've seen it in other stops. But as a head coach, what have you seen so far?
I mean, a lot like businesses or even how the country's ran. You could have a president, a face of everything, but it's about your cabinet. Who are you building behind you? And I think he's got a great OC. I think we got a great DC. I think we have great position coaches. And, of course, we have the players. You got guys that have won at a high level. We bring in Justin Reed on the defensive side. Offensive side, you got a healthy Shaheed, as well as a Chris Olave. We bring in a veteran presence in Brandon Cooks. We've got speed on the offensive side. You talk about Alvin Kamara, who's year in, year out is one of the best backs.
He's like ageless wonder.
He's amazing.
You add
he's kind of like you, the ageless wonder, right? I mean, seriously.
We just work well.
And you guys have the second easiest schedule in the NFL.
I'm not here for none of that. That's a whole this second easiest schedule. And then half of always
She's just setting you up. She just setting you up.
They all go to the playoffs.
NFC West, AFC East, first 6 games. I'm just saying, wide open division.
Yeah, that's why we didn't get any primetime games. My guess. It's okay at the end of the season. It's up to us and us up to the Saints to change that mindset.
Listen, your body is holding up, but as a fellow guy in his 30s, those primetime games, staying up till 11:30 midnight, not easy to do.
Bad for you. No, I love when,
like those.
As long as the lights is on and they shine the brightest, I love that stage.
Another example of how we are built different.
I don't know.
11:30, I'm like, game's over.
I don't know how different you guys actually are.
Yeah.
Okay, and to my
love
point,
pickleball the same.
To my point, all right, you're entering your 15th season, as we said, and you have kind of specialized in your different looks through the years. We have it all here. We have all the
2020 was one of my favorites.
What was happening in 2020?
Oh my God.
You like that one?
I wanted to be a WWE wrestler when I was growing up.
Did you want to be
This is my best shot at flicking the hair and coming off the top of the ropes.
Did you want to be a pirate in 2021? What was happening there?
I was going to say 2019 was my best pirate stash.
That's fair. That's
I had the good curl up. 2021, you might have inserted me in Sinners, honestly. I could have been an extra. Right there, I might be boosting moonshine.
Oh my gosh. And you went platinum this year.
Oh yeah,
right?
come on.
Last week, this is your platinum.
Absolutely. No, 2023. That is 2 years ago. I went AI on them. AI iconic for the cornrows.
Exactly.
And come on, it's
I love
cultural references.
So there's a theme.
Absolutely.
Right?
2017 was Black Fabio.
Okay, there we go.
This was prime. I was feeling myself.
Oh my gosh.
Every level.
Oh my gosh.
You
We gotta
can't
go
tell
back
me
and look
I'm
at
not
that.
a handsome individual.
Oh, look at and that's a very sultry
the eyes
expression
let
that
you know.
have.
I know I'm
my
handsome.
And the confidence
is.
Yeah, the
oozing
confidence is
there.
oozing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know who else seems to really change their look dramatically, and that would be our own Field Yates.
Field
Whatever
Yates.
now.
I just
They
wanna
watch
get-
himself.
Look, this is Fields
Okay, the
before,
accountant. Got it.
and now we have
Finance
Fields
bro.
got like
Yeah,
the
illustrated.
flow. He's got the hair.
into
It's like
Wall Street.
flipping up at the back.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on Fields?
Yeah, if we go just silhouette to silhouette, left to right.
Yes.
Again, accountant on the left.
Yes.
And this man right here, he's
profile shot.
into Wall Street. He's a wolf already.
I'll manage your money.
I hear it.
You mean McConaughey.
All right, still to come. I really hate to move on from this subject. NFL Live is headed to Nashville for Tight End University. Our crew is on the field as some of the best tight ends from around the league put in the work before the 2025 season. Coming your way next Tuesday at 4 Eastern on ESPN. Now time for In Case You Missed It. Rookie quarterback Jackson Dart had this to say about the Giants' quarterback plan.
They've had this blueprint and they've done it with different quarterbacks, and you've seen them succeed at the highest level. So I trust them. And, for me, I'm just trying to be the most coachable player that I can. I want to play well in the offense. I want to be able to, manage it and operate it at the highest level. I'm not looking for results immediately. I'm a process-driven person, so I'm just taking it day by day, rep by rep.
See, they have Russ Wilson there too. So, Field, what should the blueprint be for this fella?
Yeah, I mean, Hannah, the best blueprint for Jackson Dart is he doesn't play at all this year. You know why? Because Russell Wilson's playing so great that the team is saying, why would we fix what isn't broken? That being said, if we manage expectations a little bit more realistically, Russell Wilson at this stage of his career with the Giants roster and the Giants schedule this season, very, very daunting. So I think the blueprint is let Russell Wilson begin the season. When it becomes clear that the 2025 year may not be defined by wins and losses, but rather by the development of this young quarterback and the promise that you see from him, that to me could be the most important thing that Giants fans take away from this upcoming year. I can't put a specific date on it. Is it going to be week 5? Is it going to be week 8? It will remind people where we were last year with the Patriots, where it was at some point Drake May is going to start. When will it happen? A lot of last year was a wash for the Patriots. Drake May's promise was not. The Giants are hoping for the same thing from Jackson
It's
Dart.
good to have the luxury of not having to start him right away. Jameis Winston, he's in that locker room as well. Giants wide receiver Darius Slayton spoke to the media, and he let us in on what the conversations have been like with Jameis.
It's so hard to describe. It's just like how I'm talking right now, he'll be talking just like this, and it's just the random thoughts that come to his head and they just come out. And it's like we were talking about, a slant. How did we get to Kentucky Fried Chicken? It's like just hard lefts.
Okay, does that sound familiar? You played with Jameis for 4 seasons.
I don't know, but nothing about no Kentucky Fried Chicken. Maybe Louisiana Popeyes, but
there you go. Oh, so good. And the red beans? Okay, we'll talk about that later. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Happy Juneteenth.
But yes.
When I think about Jameis Winston, man, there's been so many times where I'm like, man, who's not recording this? Like, this is what you want to see in a person, in a man, and say, like, whatever it is. If you need a friend and you need somebody to be bought in, that's Jameis Winston. My kids and his kids have been at flag football games, and he'll be talking to his son. I'm like, ooh, that's a good one. Hey, listen to him. Listen to him. Hey, it doesn't pertain to you. Listen to him. Let's let him learn these mistakes. Let's learn from this situation. He gives these anecdotes, and you're just like, okay. I don't even know what we're running for, but I'm willing to run for you.
Everything you hear about him, he's a great guy to have in the locker room.
Absolutely.
He really is. And it's great having you here today
I
with
appreciate
us.
it.
Coming up next, everybody's waiting to see how the Jaguars decide to use Travis Hunter this season. Cam is back. Selecting two-way star Travis Hunter, number 2 overall after he played receiver and cornerback full-time at Colorado. His onboarding strategies starting with offense, progressively seeing an uptick in reps on defense. Here's their GM, James Gladstone, on his rookie.
He does not tire. He has got a spark. He has got the energy, the capacity from a physical standpoint. Just to be able to do it is certainly there. Certain game plans might dictate usage differently. So time will truly tell, and I don't know that one game to the next is going to be the exact same, but putting a number on it at this stage is, I think, probably premature.
So he does not tire. That's a good thing, considering what he wants to try to do. What are your thoughts about him playing both ways in the NFL?
I mean, why not? You know, he did it in college. He showed excellence. You know, he was such at the top of his positions in both DB and wide receiver. Yeah. You wouldn't say the top, but at somewhere in there.
Okay, but walk us through like how truly difficult that would be to do at this level.
I just need to know what position he's starting at. Like if you say DB, then you have to limit your reps on wide receiver, and if you say wide receiver, then you have to limit your reps at DB. Do I think that he has 120 snaps in him? Yes. For a season, probably. For 10 years, absolutely not.
Right.
Be interesting to see. I think there's a chance, based off some recent comments from James Gladstone, the GM of the Jaguars, that you might see more of Travis Hunter in the offensive meeting rooms, and you might see more of Travis Hunter on the defensive side of the ball on the field. Because the instincts for Travis Hunter defensively are so good that he might even be a more natural defensive back. Now, my own evaluation in the pre-draft process with the ceiling was even higher as a wide receiver. I thought the instincts in terms of knowing where he was on the field and where to create running lanes after the catch were so unique. Like he has this spatial awareness. Where is the pressure coming down on me, and how do I avoid that pressure? How do I avoid these big hits? Because if you see him, he's not super thick. I think he was 189 or 187 pounds at the combine, and you have to protect yourself in that regard. On top of the fact that you're playing 120 snaps, you're not a big player. So I thought that maybe gave him an edge to be potentially, a Pro Bowl level wide receiver. But to be clear, I think the Jaguars are saying, hey, we don't know exactly how it's going to work out because we don't even have pads on. We'll revisit it week in, week out, and find a rhythm, find a groove.
So I remember being at the combine and everybody was talking about Travis Hunter, and he made it clear, I can do both, I can do it all. Yeah. And I love the moxie. I love the confidence. But I've seen time and time again rookies come into the NFL, and there is that rude awakening because, the DBs are just as fast as me, or they're more physical than I'm used to. Everybody you're talking about the upper echelon of football players in the country, right? So I want to see them try whatever they can. I think corner's probably best, in my opinion. I think I would rather see him just stick to one side of the ball and use him in sort of
limit him.
It's not about limiting. I think about the toll a season takes on a body.
And she's putting it in perspective of being a rookie.
Absolutely.
So like you come in with all this unbridled passion, and you're like, yes, I can do it. Yeah. And then the reality of the NFL, winning in the NFL is hard. It smacks you in the face.
Absolutely. It's a long season.
Right.
Yeah. It's a long season. But now we've got, college has playoffs, and Colorado wasn't part of that, so they didn't have to worry about that. But
what about that transition to a rookie season from college?
Yeah, when you're transitioning, that's a long year. You've got OTAs, you got rookie mini camp, you got rookie meals, you got rookie. It's a whole lot of rookie hoopla.
Yeah,
to get to just the regular season.
Yeah, they're still grinding right now, right? Not as intensely as they will in camp.
Hey, look, I tuned most of my success to not having to do that rookie stuff. I was a lockout year. I came in to play.
That's right.
These guys got like 4 months of rookie stuff that they have to get into, and then they have a long season ahead of them. And you're telling me he's playing not only on offense but on defense too? I get it. We have Taysom Hill, and I've seen the work that he puts. You don't know what position you're going to be at, but that's on the offensive side of the ball.
Right. Just one spot.
He's now going to be playing defense and offense. I mean, it's going to be special.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm ever going to label it generational, but I'm going to label it special.
Yeah, it's a lot of meetings, a lot of different, being in a lot of different rooms. I mean, there's so much that goes into it.
I think the Jaguars told us, and I think most people agree, when they made the move from 5 to 2, you're not doing that if you're going to play him just at one spot, right? You're doing it because you think there's a chance that you have maybe the best defensive player on your roster at some point soon, and maybe the best offensive player, although Brian Thomas Jr., pretty nasty. So it's going to take a lot to get ahead of Brian Thomas Jr. based off what he showed last year.
Yeah, and it's exciting. You're going to sell tickets, right?
Oh my God,
he's a marquee talent. Everybody's going to want to see when he comes in a game, what kind of package
he's going to be dancing on the 50-yard line on in. TikToking it out.
They got primetime games. This is a new era of the Jacksonville Jaguars because of one player, truly.
Speaking of prime time, or maybe not ready for prime time, I don't know. You be the judge. Okay, our Adam Schefter made